We're halfway through the fall regular season with our Week 5 podcast. We're catching up with Joe Roberts this morning. Joe, how are we doing this morning?
Hey, Rob, it's great to talk to you. It's been a great week, and here we go. It's great to see you.
Well, let's start off with it's great to see you as well, Joe. Let's start off this week with varsity football. Vikings captured their 4th victory of the season at always a tough Mason team. A very nice win for the program.
Yeah, it was. Coach Parker and his staff have just done an incredible job of managing the wonderful group that we have, and I think it's a pure result. What you see on the field is a display of how we are off the field as well. And the kids have a lot of emotion when they're out there playing, which they should. But then they get done and they shake hands and they get back in the locker room to get ready for the next day, which is where Coach Parker and his staff needs our kids to be. And it's been great to see. Mason was just an unbelievable environment, as it always is. But Mason's been our Achilles heel in this league, and to be able to move past that right now, they're a very sound football team. I said this morning when I walked with some people, but I said, I think when you look across the board, we're going to run into the GMC again. So people that we move past here, our league is so deep and so strong. And it really is, there's a strong balance, but every team, we haven't seen West, the last of West. We haven't seen the last of Mason without question. And so being able to execute and do things that we're trying to do right now, both offensively, defensively, and special teams wise, I think it's preparing us for week 11 and beyond.
Yeah, correct. I know we talked in week 2 what it was like walking around the school at 2-0. What's it like walking around the school at 4-0?
It's hyped twice as much. It really truly is. There is just such a great sense. People come away just feeling, like I said, they come away feeling good. But I also think it transcends into what we're doing in our other programs.
Sure.
The students all talk about, getting ready for a Friday night, but they also talk about what they're doing in their particular sport and what their other peers are doing. And I think it just sends great vibes into what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Awesome for the whole school. It's just it's really great. Let's so best of luck to the football guys. They host Hamilton this Friday, 7:00 at Viking Stadium. So get your tickets or watch online at VikeNation.org. And just a short plug, we've had great participation on folks watching the broadcast.
And I do want to reiterate that, because I get a big kick out of you're constantly sending me these updates on Friday night. And, it's great to see that we have fans. Our fan base extends beyond just who's at the stadium. And I get the constraints of being able to come to the stadium, but the fact that you're able to offer streaming to fans that, they can just log onto our website. It helps builds our social space platform, but it also gets recognition to our student athletes. And it just continues to grow our game, and we're excited about that.
Yeah, it's outstanding. Let's switch over to cross country. Looks like the team went to Mason over the weekend for the Mason Invitational. Let's talk about that. And then upcoming this week, it looks like they're going to the Eaton Invitational. So a couple of events for cross country.
Yeah, we had a bunch of PRs. Coach Cobb sent a message this week after Mason, and went over there and had a really great race, both the boys and the girls. Of course, the weather was just outstanding, just perfect conditions for running. That dryness is in the air. You can definitely tell that fall's starting to roll in. And I think that we're really starting to set ourselves up for what was going to be an incredible GMC in just a few weeks. But Coach Cobb and Coach Campbell and their team, they do a wonderful job being able to put our kids in the right positions, seeing different runners, putting them on different courses throughout the season, that not only we will see again in the GMC where we were at Voice of America for Lakota East, but we'll be back there again for districts. And a lot of those runners that we see early on, we will see again in that district meet. But then taking us up to Eaton gets us an opportunity to run against some of the student athletes that we potentially will see at the region meet up in Troy, should we advance through. And I really think that we're on the right course of building that momentum going. We've got some great runners and some great student athletes out there. And so it's really exciting. Of course, we're gearing up for our event on the 23rd of September, which is going to be exciting over at Landmark Christian Church, and just hoping to really have a great turnout there, and a strong bunch of runners come and check out our course.
And that course is going to be great. They've got plenty of room there. That should be a great day.
You know, it is. I'll tell you the one thing about the course: it's a great fan course to be able to watch, because there's not a lot of blind spots. It's obviously, if you know the property, it's really wide open, and so it's a fan friendly viewing event. And you know, again, our coaches do an unbelievable job along with our ground staff of setting that facility up and getting it prepared. And it's just a fun event. Last Saturday, I went over to the Loveland Invite, and a lot of the things that I can see that we're spinning with the music, and we have the Jambulans there, and just a great opportunity for kids. It's fun, but it sets the tone for what we're trying to do to build toward the end of the season.
Yeah, that's so exciting for those student athletes, Joe. Best of luck to them this week. Let's switch to golf. Their regular seasons are starting to wind down. I see that GMC Championship is next week. They have had the Hadley Invitational at Glenview on yesterday, actually, and they have a duel with Coleraine at Miami Whitewater on Tuesday. So things are winding down for golf as we're in the halfway point for everybody else.
Yeah, you know, boys golf is really, they've been on a grind as of late, and Coach Suker has been all over the place. On Saturday, they headed up to Reed Park up in Springfield, Ohio, and participated in the Matt Kristoff Invite, which was brand new for our golfers. They were on a golf course that is a sectional site for the northern part of the group, and they had never been there. And the fact is that, you know, we struggled a little bit. Coach was telling me, you know, it was just, it wasn't in tune for their eye, because they hadn't played a lot of blind tee shots and things to that effect. But we got up there and we got to see a whole bunch of different golfers that our student athletes haven't seen. And then to turn around on Sunday and participate in the Hadley Invite back at what we call our home course at Glenview. Yes. We saw some good numbers come out of there. And again, that was a very high level golf tournament yesterday. And we saw kids that they're probably going to end up seeing again in sectionals. But then we turn around and that's what we're preparing ourselves for. Of course, next week is the GMCs at Walden. But then we've got a bunch of matches, including Best of the West, coming up over at Miami Whitewater. And the intent of that is like the intent of anything we're trying to do. And that's to prepare our team for the sectional tournament. We look at scores and we look at where we want, because we're reaching that time now where we've talked about this before. Golf is an individual sport inside a team game. And so now we're really looking at our team from an individual perspective on what you need to score to advance out. And if we can get 5 golfers to figure out where they're going to be to advance themselves forward, then we're going to really start to see some good numbers come out from the kids. And it's amazing to watch the statistics from this group from last year to this year. We've had kids drop over 20 strokes in a year. Now that's not anything that is going to set a bunch of records yet. But if this group of sophomores and juniors continue on the path that they're on, right, there's going to be some really good things at the end. And hats off to the seniors that we have on our team that have helped carry us along the way. So a lot of good things coming.
Well, you know, kudos to the coaching staff by setting up those matches, you know, by going to courses that they don't normally play, and just letting the team see where the bar has to be set, and just seeing different golfers and courses. And it's just so great to see that they're getting pushed to better themselves.
Oh, 100%. You know, that's the only way that you can really measure yourself to prepare for tournaments, and that's by playing in 18-hole matches. We love the 9-hole dual formats during the week for all of our student athletes, for all of our golfers. But when you can put them in a tournament format setting, that's how you're going to prepare your student athletes, your golfers, for the end of the season.
No question, Joe. Well, that's great. Best of luck to them this week. Let's switch over to boys and girls soccer. It looks like 2 GMC matches Tuesday and Thursday. Let's see, Middletown and Fairfield. So they're in the midpoint of the season. It's GMC grind time. Let's talk about boys and girls soccer.
Yeah, it's GMC grind time. I mean, we're right in the middle of it. Girls I'll start with the girls. Girls soccer has been on a little bit of a struggle, but they're moving the ball. Coach Bannister's trying to get some things going, but it is really about trying to put themselves in the right space and the right field position in order to score. I think I haven't seen. We met together on Thursday or Friday, and I haven't had a chance to see girls soccer very much this year because again they've been on a road warrior streak.
Yes.
And when they're gone, we usually have activities here on campus. So I'm typically here, but we're going to get them back here this week at least once, and then we'll get to see them. And then in boys soccer, that tie with Coleraine last week,
huge.
Yeah, it is. And then you got to think about, well, they should have won. They should have done this. But I'll go this way: they were down 1-0, and we score, and then they were down 2-1, and there's under 5 minutes to go in the match, and we score off of a penalty kick to tie it 2-2. Now, a lot of people can walk away and say, well, that's not, that's a tie, this, that, and the other. But in the sport of soccer, if you're able to put a tie on the table, that's a really great momentum carrier for our boys team. And more importantly, if people that may not know, Coleraine knocked us out of the tournament at their place last year, and it really stung.
Yep.
So those kids had a little bit of that in them. But what continues to amaze me in both boys and girls soccer, but actually in all of our sports, and this is what the beauty of the GMC is how close in relationships our student athletes are with one another. We had kids out on that field that play club soccer together all year, and they know each other. And so Does it get chippy? It absolutely gets chippy. That competitive nature comes out in them, but they all have this relationship with one another, and it just kind of builds that. And that's what I love about our conference so much is our student athletes, they all know one another.
Right.
And so they're ready to battle against each other every single night. But then at the end, they shake hands and they build that relationship and move on. So looking forward to what's going on this week.
Yeah, I never thought I would appreciate a tie, but I've learned to enjoy soccer, and I get it now. I've become a big fan of FC Cincinnati, and I understand the tie now. And
I do too, Rob. I didn't know if I ever would, but I do. I get it. So, I'm totally in, and I value what it does for the game and what it does for the sport. I guess we walk away if we have 16 ties, that's pretty darn good. But, night in and night out, both Viking boys and girls soccer, they are going to put you to the test no matter what. They're not going to quit. And that's been a beauty to watch.
It's really exciting. Best of luck to them this week. Let's go girls tennis this week. Busy week. Looks like hosting Mount Notre Dame today, travel to Lakota East on Tuesday, and then at Middletown on Thursday. So I would guess a tough non-league today, and then two GMC matches Tuesday and Thursday this week.
Yeah, right. You hit the nail on the head with that. I mean, it's just a tough match today, but it's what our kids need. Again, our coaching staff have a great philosophy, and not only does our conference prepare us, we're preparing our students for what happens at the end of the season, and that really is essential. We've got to face the levels of MND. We've got to face the levels that we see with Lakota East and Sycamore and Mason, because it does. And then you have great competition in our league, and Coach Bruning sprinkles in a little bit of non-league in there, and it gets us ready for Coaches Classic. It gets us ready for GMC tournament. It gets us ready for sectionals. And again, tennis, much like golf, is that individual sport inside a team game. So, we've got a position. Who do we want to put it? 2 singles or 1 doubles, right, so that we know down the road when it comes to tournament time who we can see to advance. Our 1 single today may end up being on 2 doubles just because that's a better role, a better option, a better path for them to get through. And I think that coach really does value that, and he puts a lot of intention into it.
And then having those non-league matches early in the week allows him to kind of tinker with that and do some tests before he gets into league play on Tuesday, Thursday.
Without question. And again, going back to the beauty of the league, it also gives all of our students, because we've got great numbers in girls tennis right now with a full JV squad, a full varsity squad, and again, opportunities for them to get on the court and play tennis. And that's been wonderful to watch this year. The more they can do that, the more kids that are going to come out and play.
Yeah, it's a great sport. You've got great courts at Princeton, and it's nice to hear that the numbers are up, because I love tennis. It's just watch you open tennis all weekend, so it's just a good sport. Let's switch. Let's go inside. Girls volleyball looks like two GMC Tuesday, Thursday, traveling on the road at Middletown, at Fairfield, and then hosting a Stivers School for the Arts on Saturday at 1. So let's talk a little bit about girls volleyball, Joe.
Yeah, girls volleyball keeps putting it to the test and pushing it to the limit. The girls haven't let up. Our conference has really been kind of up and down a little bit this year. You know, and where you kind of want to see things is you want to kind of be in that middle grouping in our conference, because that's really going to set you up for what's going to happen toward the end. And then obviously picking up a good non-conference match with Stivers. Again, it's just about opportunities. You know, Stivers needs matches just as much as anybody else. And it's a great setup for our students to prepare us and to give our kids time on that floor that they need. Coach Weller and her team have done a good job with the kids this year in trying to put some good rotations in, trying to work on serving, trying to work on hitting, finding that right setter that'll throw some things up. But we've got a great front line that's been wonderful this year, and looking forward to this week as we hit that. I guess this is the middle grouping or the middle time frame of the GMC schedule. So getting ready.
Yeah, best of luck to them. Let's end things this week on WAPO. We'll start with the girls. Looks like they had the Princeton Invitational this past weekend, and I'm sure that was a well-attended event. Let's talk girls WAPO first.
Yeah, water polo held their invite this past Friday and Saturday, and we finished with we had a really tough loss in the middle match. We beat Napoleon on Saturday morning. We beat Napoleon in the first match, and we had a really tough loss to an extremely good Upper Arlington team.
Yeah, they're all.
But some of that, you know, Coach Fedek and I were talking a little bit. Some of that had to do with just the amount of rest that goes in between. For those that have never watched water polo, you know, maybe ESP can come and do a little streaming for it coming up here, because you talk about a physically intensive sport.
Yeah, because they're not in the kiddie pool; they're in the deep end.
That's correct. Yeah, they're in the deep end, and there's no chance. I watched some girls warm up this week. They jump in the pool and they've got their arms straight up in the air, and they're like, it's not wading, but they're like swimming across the pool with their arms up in the air. It's just a complete core and lower body type format. But like I said, we came in Saturday morning, had a great match with Napoleon, then turned around and had a solid match. Just we were kind of outmanned a little bit, if you will, with Upper Arlington, but our girls were tired. But then they got some really good rest, and we finished the night with Milford, and it was a great match to watch. We jumped out on them early. It was a back and forth battle, a little bit, if you will. But Coach Fedek and his team have put our girls into a really great mindset in order to carry us forward as we move into toward the end of the season. Then, obviously, with the boys up in Columbus at Ohio Cup, that's always such a fun event. Anytime water polo students want to talk at senior night, every one of their bios, their favorite memory is something that happened at Ohio Cup.
Yeah. And
Ohio Cup is such a unique event to Ohio because it's outside.
Yes.
And, you know, if you head out west, I mean, every water polo match is outside, very few, but you get to be outside. And it's just an incredible event to see. I've watched some videos on Twitter over the weekend, and that was really, it's amazing to watch our kids play, but it's been a great season. Coach Walls and Coach Fedek have done an unbelievable job, and his staff. But I do want to touch base because we're gearing up toward the Packer Classic for the boys that will happen the 21st through the 23rd of September here at Princeton. Our parents, our water polo parents, we have to give them a huge shout out because they work our table for us. They handle the scoring for us. They make sure the officials and the coaches have wonderful hospitality. They put in a tremendous amount of time inside that pool to make sure our event is successful. So really want to say thank you to them. Thanks to our ticket staff who stay here all weekend to make sure that the front gate is maintained. Thanks to our custodians, because those that know our facility, that back door of our pool becomes another swimming pool, because all the teams go out to our hallway, and of course they're soaking wet, but our custodians are there to mop that water up and keep that space dry and clean. But it's really, it's a hard thing when you're here, 12, 13 hours in one day getting all those matches in. So shout out to everybody that helped us.
Yeah, that's great. Well, Joe, as we get into week 5, best of luck to all the Vikings teams. I appreciate your time. We'll touch base this time next week to get the latest to the Viking sports, but all the best and have a great week.
Yep. And I do want to hit real quick, Rob, because I didn't do it when we were talking golf. Best of luck to our Lady Viking golf team this Tuesday and Wednesday. They're at Walden Ponds for the GMC tournament. So we're excited about that. We're looking forward to seeing them play.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, thank you, Joe. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Have a good day.